It is Tuesday, the generally assigned time on BookTube for doing tags. The date is important too. I wouldn't normally lower myself to do a tag, but some oik, who shall remain nameless, tagged me. This is the Snob-o-Meter Tag, which was created by that reading guy. I shall deign to leave a link in the show notes below. My name is James. This is my channel. Tomes, literary examination and substance. Prompt 1. What is your definition of book snobbery? A book snob is a person who scoffs at the mainstream or popular book titles, who looks down on what other people might be reading. Now it gets more interesting. Prompt number 2. Is there a genre or type of book you would never consider reading, such as would you ever read a romance? Or if you regularly read romance, would you ever try a science fiction novel? Well, genre fiction is not real literature. No matter if it's romance, crime, sci-fi, young adult, or fantasy, it's not real literature. It's unimportant, vulgar and trashy. Real literature is more exclusive and elevated, reserved for us, enlightened few. Popular fiction is entertainment for the masses, for the riffraff. If you only read books that everyone else is reading, you only think what everyone else is thinking. Literary fiction and classics challenge the mind. The worst genre? Probably romantasy. Can you imagine anything worse than romance and fantasy and YA combined? Seriously? Prompt number 3. Does erotica count as literature? No, of course not. Lady, shall I lie in your lap? No, my lord. I mean my head upon your lap. Aye, my lord. Do you think I mean country matters? I think nothing, my lord. That's a fair enough thought, to lie between maids' legs. Come on, it's not exactly Shakespeare, is it? Prompt number 4. Is it better to read classic books or popular bestsellers? Of course it's better to read classic books. They're classic for a reason. The passage of time has elevated them to classic status. The winner of the Pulitzer Prize in 1925, Edna Ferber's So Big, which was a best-selling work of fiction in America for the year 1924. Who reads that now? Great Gatsby was published in 1925, around the same time. It wasn't a bestseller when it came out, but it's now a classic. Prompt number 5. Have you ever bragged about reading a classic in order to sound smart? No. Or at least I can't remember doing this. Prompt number 6. Do audiobooks count as reading? No. We're taught to read with our eyes, not with our ears. I will allow audiobooks to count as reading only if you're blind or visually impaired. What about comics or graphic novels? No, these are not literature. These are for children. They're just pictures and dialogue. In Marvel, like in Harry Potter, the binary divide of characters between good and evil is just too simplistic. Like there are no good Slytherins. In literature, characters are more nuanced. Meursault, he killed an Arab. He didn't cry at his mother's funeral, but is he evil? I think if we read this, we find that he's a more nuanced character. L'étranger. This was number 1 in Le Monde's list of greatest novels of the 20th century. But if you're going to read it, you have to read it in French. Aujourd'hui, maman est morte. Ou peut-être hier. Je ne sais pas. You can't translate this accurately into English. You can't translate maman the way that Camus meant it into English. Likewise, if you're reading the Russian classics, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, Gogol, you have to read them in the original language. Constance Garnett made Tolstoy and Dostoevsky sound the same with her Victorian sensibilities and things. It was sacrilege. Prompt number 7. Have you ever looked down at someone for reading a popular fluff book. A book with little substance to it. For example, a self-help book or a celebrity memoir. Here's a popular fluff book, Moby Dick. Some suggest this is the great American novel. Really? The great American novel is obviously The Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. Moby Dick is trash. It's a monster book fleshed out with chapters on 19th century whaling in excruciating detail. Meg is better. At least it doesn't pretend to be great literature. Prompt number 8. Have you ever been the recipient of someone else's snobbery? Probably, but I don't remember any particular instances. Prompt number 9. Would you ever be friends with a snob? Maybe you already are. Yes, why not? At least these people have opinions and not vacuous. Prompt number 10. Are people who don't read less sophisticated than people who do? Undoubtedly. In ancient Greece, Sophia, the root of sophisticated, was the special insight of poets and prophets. This then became the wisdom of philosophers, the soph again. What wisdom do you garner doom scrolling through Instagram or TikTok? Seriously? Read a book. Prompt number 11. Measure yourself based on your answers to the previous 10 questions. Would you qualify yourself as a book snob? Yes, of course. Prompt number 12. Tag some people. I wouldn't lower myself to tag anyone, but if this resonates with you, feel free to do the tag. And if you enjoyed this video, then you should be reading a book instead, but you can give it a like. This will help me with this YouTube algorithm thingy. And I shall see you, or maybe not, on the next video. Goodbye.